Good afternoon to you. I'm Jonathan Kadish from Aquaponics NYC. I'm out here in my terrestrial garden, as I like to call it, as opposed to my aquaponic garden. And today I'm going to go into the world of grow lighting and artificial lighting, and also into the world of photosynthesis, so we can understand a little bit about what grow lights we need. First, let me just say that I'm not an expert. I don't do this for a living, but I am a very interested person. I like learning new things, and this is something I needed to do. So, needed to learn about grow lights for my own system, because I just built a system up here in Woodstock, and I need to figure out what grow light is going to be best for it. So I want to grow things like kale, lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, chard. So I need a grow light that's going to sort of be the best of all worlds. So I'm going to get a little deep into the woods about photosynthesis and light waves and the wavelengths of light. Here I'm sitting under the best grow light in the world, called the sun, obviously. But I need a grow light that's going to help me reproduce that inside. So I promise this isn't going to be too painful, but we're going to have to get a little bit technical. So just bear with me. By the end, we'll come up with what we think is the best grow light solution. So if you paid attention in biology class, you know that all plants absorb light in a process called photosynthesis. This is accomplished in cells that contain a pigment known as chlorophyll. When photons generated by a light source hit the chlorophyll, electrons from water molecules are knocked off the hydrogen atoms and transferred through the chlorophyll. The plant then uses this energy as a power source to create ATP. ATP is a sort of battery for reactions that happen without light. This process is called the Calvin cycle, and the plant uses the Calvin cycle to produce sugars. So photosynthesis occurs in two different types of chlorophyll, A and B. But also aiding in photosynthesis are carotenoids, which are a type of pigment that protects the plant from photon damage. For humans, they are antioxidants, like beta-carotene is one. When you see a fruit become ripe, it's because the chlorophyll A and B has returned to the plant, which is green, and what you're left is with the yellow, orange, or red. Those are the carotenoids. The carotenoids absorb energy from light and transfer their electrons onto chlorophyll A. Chlorophyll B also transfers its electrons to chlorophyll A. So chlorophyll A is the real workhorse here. When you look at this chart, you see that the peaks are in the blue and violet range, as well as the orange and red range. These wavelengths of light are the most used by plants for photosynthesis. Plants appear green because they absorb very little green and yellow light. A good grow light really needs light in these wavelength ranges. There are so many types and manufacturers of grow lights out there, it can be difficult to know where to start. In the next part of this video, I will try to give you some things that you can think about and research when choosing the technology and manufacturer of your grow light. Let's take a look at the major types of grow lights that are widely used to grow plants. First up, we have high intensity discharge and metal halide. Next, we have high pressure sodium, light emitting diodes or LED, Then we have induction lighting, which is somewhat related to T5 fluorescent lighting. Just looking at these images, you can see that there are some differences in how colors of these lights look to our eyes. However, there is no photosynthesis going on in our eyeballs. One of the ways we can look at light is photosynthetically active radiation, or the acronym known as PAR. The center peak on this graph is what we can see with our eyes, while the peaks at the ends are what is photosynthetically active. So what looks bright to our eyes may not be useful to a plant. Metal halide and high-intensity discharge provide a broad spectrum of light that is both photosynthetically active and pleasing to our eyes. The spectrum charts show that there is light radiation across the spectrum for both of these lights, with a little more light at the blue and violet end than there is at the red end. This indicates that plants will grow very well in the vegetative phase, while there is less light radiation in the orange and red wavelengths, which are typically associated with flowering and fruiting. High pressure sodium, or HPS, is the same lighting that you see in street lamps that have an orange glow to them. Although there is some light radiation in the violet and blue wavelengths, most of the energy is focused on the yellow, orange, and red wavelengths. This has long made HPS the grow light of choice for those focused on flowering and fruiting. Light-emitting diodes, or LEDs, are the newest and perhaps the most promising grow light technology. I say this because it's the only light source that we can customize to meet the exact photosynthetic requirements of the plant, while not wasting energy in the green and yellow wavelengths which plants don't use. Manufacturers simply choose combinations of different wavelengths of light for their fixtures. Although it can be a highly efficient grow light, the violet, blue, and red lights are not terribly useful or pleasing to us humans. T5 fluorescent lights are a specific type of efficient and long-lasting fluorescent bulb. They are also widely used outside of horticulture and are available in a variety of different color temperatures with different spectrums. A gardener can use combinations of different bulbs to make up a more complete spectrum, but they are best used for vegetative growing. Rounding out our group is induction lighting. Invented around 120 years ago by Nikolai Tesla, it has only recently been adopted as a grow light. Advantages of induction lighting are a wide spectrum of light for both vegetative and fruiting, as well as the longest lifetime of all the grow lights, boasting a 100,000 hour lifespan. It has been shown by some manufacturers that augmenting the 600 to 700 nanometer wavelength can produce more fruit. So which grow light is the best? From a spectrum standpoint, metal halide, HID, LED, and induction all can produce a good grow light spectrum. But just looking at the spectrum doesn't tell the entire story of a grow light. Each technology turns electricity into light in different ways, and each type of light bulb deteriorates at different rates. In this chart, we see three dimensions of grow lights. On the left-hand side, we see lumens per watt, which is a measure of how electricity is turned into light. We also see how quickly that efficiency declines over time And finally, we see when we can expect a light bulb to fail and need replacement. HID is the most efficient bulb, but only for the first few thousand hours, as we see a rapid decline in its efficiency. It needs the most frequent replacement of all the technologies. HPS also degrades quickly, but will last you longer. Fluorescent bulbs are well known for their efficiency and do last a few years. The bulbs are low wattage, so you need many to do the same work as our other technologies. The exception to that are LEDs, which, to my surprise, end up having the least lumens per watt of all of our technologies. They make up for this inefficiency by producing only what is needed for the plant. One drawback of LEDs is that there are many diodes needed in each fixture to emit enough light to be effective. On the plus side, a well-made LED fixture can last you for up to 10 years. Induction lighting is our clear winner on this chart, providing a good spectrum and efficiency for up to 20 years. This technology will only lose 10% of its lumens after 70,000 hours. So sorry if I geeked out there a little bit and got a little technical with the charts and the illustrations. But when you're trying to replace the ultimate grow light in the sky and come up with something artificial for indoors, I think you have to get a little technical. So we looked at all the different technologies out there, and well, here are my opinions, and once again, they're my opinions, and I'm not an expert. But let's look at the different, I think are the plus and minuses for the different grow lights. So HID and Metal Halide, I've been grouping those together because they're similar light spectrums. They also both throw off a fair amount of heat. So that's a sort of a negative, or it could be a positive if you're growing in a really cold climate. They have a good spectrum of light, although they need some augmentation in the orange-red wavelengths of light. So they're a good solution other than the fact that they blow out or they degrade very quickly. So an HID light is only going to last you a year, and then you're going to have to change it year after year. And that can have an environmental impact because of the heavy metals that are inside of the grow light itself. So, we all want to reduce our environmental impact, right? So I'm ruling those out. Those are kind of the old lighting technology. So is high pressure sodium. I've been using high pressure sodium in my system down in New York City, and the results are mixed. If I'm trying to grow lettuce or things like that, I get a very leggy result. So the lettuce plants kind of wander around trying to get up to the light. The intensity of the light in the blue and green, the blue and violet range is not enough for them. But when I grew tomatoes, they did pretty well. So HPS I'm ruling out because it's not a complete spectrum. So next up, fluorescent. Fluorescent is a really efficient light source. The major drawbacks are the spectrum. If you're going to grow greens, if you're going to grow lettuce and herbs and things like that, it's great. It's a good solution for those things. The only drawback for fluorescence are you need a lot of bulbs per fixture. I think the maximum wattage you can get in the T5 is 54 watts. So you would need like 10 bulbs, for a 4x4 grow bed, or maybe even a little more, probably more like 20 bulbs for a grow bed that size. There is also an environmental impact. They do have mercury in the grow lights themselves. So, and you're discarding those every couple of years. So that's an environmental issue that I don't like about fluorescent. Although, if I was on a budget and I didn't have a lot of money to spend up front, that might be a good option to go just to grow my greens. LEDs are really great. They're really promising, although I don't think there's been enough real research on the fixtures that are out there right now. We'll see. I mean, the results are going to come in on some of these manufacturers, like Black Dog is really good. They're a good LED manufacturer, and people are reporting good things from them. There are some issues with LEDs that I'm not sure about. You know, if you're going to have a 400 watt fixture or 375 or something like that, I think it is, then you're going to have like 100 LEDs in the fixture. So all those LEDs in the fixture mean that any one of them could fail at some point in the fixture's lifetime. And granted, the manufacturer will probably warranty that, but then your grow light is out of commission for a few weeks. And obviously that's something you can't afford to do. Also, some of the cheaper manufacturers from China, for example, they'll actually put these LEDs in series, so if one goes out, the whole line goes out, kind of like Christmas tree lights. If one bulb in the Christmas tree light goes out, the whole thing goes out, so you have to replace that one bulb to get it working again. So that's something to consider for LEDs, but like I said, really good technology, and I think eventually they'll get it figured out, and we'll know exactly what the spectrums are that most plants need. That leaves me with induction, and induction is the light source that I am choosing for my system up here in Woodstock. I like the broad spectrum, I like the efficiency, and I like how long the bulb will last. And that it doesn't degrade much over time. So I really like induction. We'll see if I need to augment with some red to produce some red light to produce more fruit. We'll find that out. So over the next year, I'll be doing a series of trials of different kinds of plants and seeing how it goes. So you want to make sure you subscribe to the channel to get updates on those videos and see how the induction light performs. I've actually been talking to a company called Indigrow on the West Coast. They're a manufacturer of induction lights, and they've been so kind to supply me with a 420 watt lamp. I wonder why they chose that number, 420. Well, anyway, so thanks to Daryl over at Indigrow Grow Lights for supplying me with the light to do my trials, and we'll see how that goes. So once again, remember to subscribe so you can see how my trials go. Jonathan Kadish from Aquaponics NYC, signing out from my terrestrial garden.